self-transformation, love your neighbor, hate your other neighbor, beloved community, holy crusade. These and other religious tropes are woven into the national cultural fabric, and they furnish the tools by which we cobble together selves and collectivities. Like America's culture of punishment, which seeps out of prisons and courthouses into the culture at large, American religion cannot be contained merely by bolting the cathedral doors. Even those of us who would never be caught dead in church are not immune to American religion's languages and moods, dreams and dispositions. To be a subject of this great and grotesque nation is to be filled, to some degree, by the spirit of religion. We say this not to debunk, but to exhort. The spirit of religion infuses the ruling American order, but it also especially infuses, the collective projects of those who struggle to dismantle this order. In public and private, and in mass-mediated spaces, ruling elites carefully manage and repress religion, just as they manage and repress race, gender, sexuality, disability, immigration, and labor. Diked and rerouted, these sites of potential mass disruption are smoothly integrated into the reproduction of power structures and the flows of capital. But management is a tricky business, and the long arc of the universe bends in the direction of messier outcomes. We understand that religion has often been used to mollify, but religion may also ignite. We write with the hope of coaxing elements of the religious repressed back to the surface. We want to call forth and explicitly ponder the religious stories, symbols, feelings, and practices that have shaped and pushed back against the present civic order, a civic order in which carcerality is a predominant feature. In so doing, we hope to lend support for smashing those elements that engender mass harm and to open up space for alternatives that foster mass healing. To understand the United States as a prison nation and to cure the maladies that afflict us, it is imperative that we understand it as a religious prison nation, and more specifically, as a Christian prison nation. To designate the United States as such is not to endorse Christian triumphalism, nor is it to absolve non-Christian responsibility. Rather, it is only to name properly the tradition that most informs Americans' interlocking senses of order, justice, virtue, and redemption. According to the ruling logics that inform American common sense, the state is authorized to inflict violence for the sake of the public good. Violations of the law enact wounds to the collective that can only be healed through the deliberate infliction of suffering. And for those who violate the law, this suffering is potentially redemptive. In the American context, these ideas have particular Christian histories, and the practices that attend them are secularized Christian practices. Put somewhat crudely, the systematic criminalization of certain American lives is a product of racial capitalism, settler colonialism, and patriarchy. But it also takes place in the long shadow cast by Christ on the cross. What role did religion play in underwriting the explosive growth of prisons over the last 5 decades? What role does religion play in sustaining mass incarceration today? And most crucially, what potential role might religious ideas, practices, and communities play in destroying the mammoth carceral state and its attendant carceral culture, and in helping to foster in its place a culture of mutual care? These are the questions that animate the inquiry to follow. A religious prison nation. The graph is familiar and baffling. A more or less flat line representing the U.S. prison population into the early 1970s, followed by an almost vertical leap afterward. The contrast borders on the cartoonish. Something happened. But what? Among scholars, activists, and the general public, 3 stories currently circulate for what happened. Let us call these stories the race account, the politics account, and the economics account. According to the first, the United States has always found ways to ensure a racial caste system in which black people are disenfranchised and impoverished, their labor brutally extracted. When slavery ended, white terror installed